Hi, I want to welcome you to Computer Science 142, Introduction to Programming. My name is John Tutangi, and welcome to the class. I am excited to get the quarter going. Hope you are too. This video is just to set up sort of some expectations and kind of get you started on what you need to do for this online class. So first off, I'll sort of introduce myself. My name again is John Tutangi. I like to go generally in person by my last name at school. Can be difficult to understand. So if you break it into 3 syllables, it's easier. Two, like the number 2. And then Tan, rhyming with dawn, Tan. And then the Gi, kind of like the Gi in geese. So 2 Tan Gi, 2 Tan Gi, if you put them together, Tutangi. In the online environment, that can be a drag to type. So I'll often sign things JT, and you could refer to me as that as well. One reason I don't like to go by my first name, John, is when I see students later in the world, 4, 5, 10 years later, if they say, hey, Tutangi, I know kind of immediately that they're from a student. I'm like, oh yeah, I know you. Anyways, okay, so that's enough about me. A little bit about our course. Our course is set up as modules in Canvas, and they have sort of a week 0 or getting started module, which kind of has all the information you need to get started. And then we jump into week 1. And I'm going to go through that stuff a little bit. Of course, my Zoom bar is in the way. There we go. Okay, so in our Canvas homepage, it'll focus on the modules. And if you go to the home page in Canvas here, you'll first see a couple of the most recent announcements. Here they are. Welcome, that's for old quarter, so I gotta adjust that still. And then installing Java and Eclipse, recent announcements. And you scroll down, you'll see the different weeks that I've set up as modules. So week 0, or the getting started module, reference materials, and then we jump into week 1, and it goes through however long the quarter is, week 2, week 3, etc. In the week 0, where you'll start, there's this video, welcome. There's information on our textbook, the applications that you need, the hardware that you need for this course. So just real quickly, we try to minimize the costs for this class. So you do need Java, that's a free download, and you can just click on this link and download it. Usually just do the newest edition, right? As of now, it's this 17, it looks like. And then we'll use a programming environment called Eclipse. You want to download that as well. So do the Java first, then download the Eclipse. Here's a short video, 15-minute short, where I go over how to do that. Our textbook is Building Java Programs, a back to basics approach. There's things I do and don't like about it, but here's the 4th edition, the older edition. The newer one in the bookstore is the 5th edition. I have a link here to the 2nd edition. Any of these will work. You can use the online copy if you'd like. This PDF, I have it here. Show you. That looks like. They basically all have the same content. One thing that's nice about having the actual physical copy of the book, and I might suggest you buy an older edition if you like, or if you're using, you could use the new edition as well, it's just more expensive. But one thing that's nice about it is when you come across code in the book, it's really good practice to just code it into Eclipse. And so if I have my book open on my desk, I can just be looking at the book and doing my coding at the same time. If I have a large enough monitor, sort of like I do here, I don't know, it depends on what computer you're working on, or you have multiple monitors, some students will be fine at just having their text open here, having Eclipse open over here where you're going to do your coding. And then let me shrink myself down a little bit. And then you can code along in the book with them open simultaneously or on 2 monitors. Some people will prefer to have a hard copy, and what you want is the ability to have the book open while you're coding. And ideally, you're doing most of the coding in the book that they're going through it. Because just reading code is not very effective, but reading code while you type it can help you a lot. Okay, so textbook and Practice It. Just follow this link. Practice It is a website supported by the University of Washington, where the author of this book works as a lecturer, and they set up this website with sort of all the problems from the book on the website. You can just practice them, and it'll tell you whether you've done them correct or not. So that's what's nice about it. You'll set up an account, and then it'll take you, you go to the, after you've set up your account and logged in, you can just click on start practicing. And again, it doesn't matter what edition you use, but we're using the 5th or the 4th edition, so you might as well just use the newest one. And then chapter 1, and there's a bunch of problems here that I'll suggest that you do, not all of them, but I have a list of suggested problems. And when you're doing the problems, you can type answers in, and it will tell you if you are, when you submit it, correct or not. So it's self-correcting. And so I got one of these right. I got 3 of them wrong. And you can retry it. So the good news about Practice It is that it's a great way to see if you understand the material. The bad news about Practice It is that all of the solutions to all of the problems are online. This is actually true with any of the coding we're going to do in our class. You can find someone who will help you do all of the work that we have in this class. In other words, if I go to Google and I just search one of the problems, I think it's called egg, and I search Practice It, egg, I will find at GitHub here someone who has solved this problem for me. There it is. And I can just copy their code and I can paste it into Practice It, and I'm done. So I'm aware of this, and I could invent all new problems for you to do, and then eventually those problems also would end up online. Doing this, looking problems up online, is not going to help you learn how to code. And you're not generally going to do very well and learn the material. So I would suggest that you not use any online resources. In fact, we are not permitted to use any online resources in this course. So no GitHub, no Chegg. If you're not familiar with Chegg, it's a tutoring site that helps you it does all your work for you, basically. $10 a month, and it'll do all your problems for you. But again, you could pay someone to do all your work, or you could actually learn how to do the work yourself. So I don't want to harp too long on that, but you'll see in our agreement that we're not allowed to use online resources. Of course, I can't prevent you, but what'll happen is then you won't learn the content and you probably won't succeed in the class. Our Practice It work literally is for practice. It's not worth a ton of points for us. We also are going to need a webcam. So I have one here, an external one. I also have one built into my laptop. It doesn't matter, but I need to have the ability to, when you take tests, to see you, to see your workspace. You do a once over of that, and then also to see your desktop, which I'm sharing with you now. So the camera is needed for that. So if you don't have one, you will need to get one. And I think the college can supply some for you if you have issues need, but they're around $30, I think. Okay, so that's our getting started. If you go to the next page in Canvas, there's if you have a hard time downloading Java and Eclipse, there's additional instructions here. I find them really hard, so I would suggest you just try it on your own first. And then if you get stuck or you have problems, you can go to this, or you can come get a little help from me. I have study hours starting Monday. So Monday, I think it's 3 o'clock. If you check on our, go to our homepage. Yeah, there's a study hour, Monday at 2. So the study hours are listed here in this Getting Started module as well. This will be a Zoom study hours, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can come get help. I'll help you. I can go over stuff with you, etc. Introduce yourself, whatever. Okay. Textbook, webcam, Practice It. Good. Week 1 material. So if you go into week 1, we start right away. We have PowerPoint and a chapter 1 to go through for the first week. So I just have this due on like the middle of the week, these PowerPoints. This is another instructor at South put together these PowerPoints. It's basically a summary of chapter 1. It's a little less copy heavy, a little easier to go through. And what I would suggest is that you download these and then click through them probably by midweek. Usually they don't take too long to kind of go through. And again, if there's coding as you flip through here, it's not a bad idea to do the coding along with the PowerPoint. This is really good practice. We need practice doing coding to get better, and it'll help us with the syntax. It'll help us with everything. Java tends to be a little more syntactical than Python. It has a few more requirements that we need, and it's just a little learning curve to getting used to that. But once you do, it shouldn't be that different for you. Okay. So PowerPoint, and then below it, I have a link again to the textbook. And those are generally, by Wednesday of the week, I would think that you would want to have gone through that content. Then I have a set of practice it problems. So I'm putting those on the first day of the week to say, these are the problems that are coming up for the week. So this one, these are due Thursday. So it's all these problems. You can link to this page. It'll pull up the thing. You want to make sure you log in so you can do them. You can see if you're logged in up here, if your username's up in the corner. And then you just work through the self-checks. For the self-checks, it's usually good to do them as you're going through the book because they link to the section and they can be very quick. The exercises are programming, they take a little longer. Sometimes I'll put little hints in here. I talk about it down here in the suggestions, but if you're, so practice it will self-grade for you. If you're getting things incorrect over and over several times, usually it means that one of two things. Either you don't understand the content and it would be good to go back and review it, whether that's the video or the PowerPoint or the textbook, or you have a very minor error that you're just not seeing, like you missing a space or something tiny. And so we want to figure out what the difference is. What we don't want is we don't want to just keep resubmitting. I've had students do things, 40 or 50 times. This is not a good strategy. If after the second or third time it's not working, we need to figure out why it's not working. And I can help you do that. You can come to Zoom study hours. You can message me in Canvas. You do that by going to your inbox and then clicking on, let's see, I'll show you this little guy, new message. And then you should be able to select the course, and then it asks you who you want to send it to, which would be Tutangi, me. Okay, back to our course here. Got where I am. PowerPoints. Probably the most important thing are the video lectures. Watch and code video lectures. So I have these on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's about 3 hours a week of video coding that I've provided. That's our instruction. That's what you would be doing in class. And what we do in a face-to-face situation is I'm sort of up at the front of the room projecting my screen onto a bigger screen, and everyone's coding along with me in class. And that's exactly what we want to do in the online environment. There's a little bit of a learning curve to this. So you need to watch these videos with a computer, and preferably, it can be tricky because I'm going to show you here what I want. So here's a video in YouTube right there. And you can see it's analogous to what we're doing here, but there's my little image. And I want to sort of situate that a little smaller. I'm having a hard time because I have Zoom and the video open at the same time. So let's see if I can. It's hard for me to resize stuff because my Zoom window's in the way. Okay, so I'm going to move the video over here, and I'm going to move my Eclipse over here. And ideally, I'm going to shrink myself down here for a second. I want to be able, not ideally, this is what you need to be able to do. You need to be playing the video and coding at the same time, along with it. And it's not just the coding that's important here, but as I go through the video, I am making comments about good practices and why I've done this, et cetera, and all of that stuff is important. So during the coding, the video lecture, you are coding along with it. You have the ability to pause the video. That's nice. In class, we can't do that. You can't pause me. So if you're falling behind or you have syntax errors, that little red mark's a syntax error, you can pause it and fix those things. You can also speed me up. If I'm going too slow, you can make me a little faster here. You probably can't hear that, but it sped me up. So you'll get used to this, and it takes a little bit of practice to get good at it. In addition, in the videos, I have, there'll be coding, but there'll also be some sort of stuff going on in OneNote, in the purple thing. It's sort of like what I have going on here. And that content, I want you to write in a notebook. So for example, if I'm down here in chapter 2 somewhere, this is Space Shuttle. So there's a video that contains this information. This is the problem. And if I don't, you could write I would sort of write the problem down in my notebook, because if I don't write the problem down, it's hard to know what everything else in the notebook is referring to. So you copy this down, or you can paraphrase it down. You need to have that in your notebook. And then as I go through the video, I'm doing this work, and this is analogous to what I would be doing on the whiteboard in class. And I need to move it over so you can see it. Well, you don't need to see that here, but all of this content, as I'm writing it down, you're writing it down in your notebook as well. And that's the logic usually, or oftentimes the pseudocode is contained here in the notebook. And if you're going to learn how to become not just syntactically good at coding, but like logically good, if you're going to learn how to develop programming or coding, that's the work that's important. So the pseudocode, the coding itself, if we switch languages, once we learn how to sort of do the logic, I can move between languages really easily. I mean, I have to sort of remember the syntax for the particular language, but then once you sort of refresh yourself on the syntax, everything else is sort of the same. So you'll see that in this class. Everything we learned in 110 in Python, a lot of those constructs are going to be the same: the definite loops, the indefinite loops, the variable types, etc. The syntax is a little different. So once we learn the new syntax, that should all be good. Okay, so videos. Again, your goal is to have my video coding up and resize it. I would not open these in Canvas. I would open them separately like I've done here, have its own window, and the coding going on simultaneously. And they might take you a little time at first, but this one's 22 minutes. We look back on Canvas, the first set of video coding, which is due Monday. That means I want you to watch these 2 videos on Monday. One is 22 minutes, the other is 23 minutes. That's 55 minutes. That's class time. Okay, so if you don't go to class, if we don't watch and code the videos, we're not going to learn the content. We're not going to learn it. And we're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure stuff out that we don't understand. So the course is set up for you to succeed if you do this instruction. Okay, back to my notebook here. Back to my, sorry. Watching code videos. Okay, and then so that's week 1, and then you'll also see in week 1. I'll go back to here. Go to the home page. Week 0 and close that guy up. Reference materials. In here, I have all our PowerPoints. So if you ever want to just quickly grab a PowerPoint, here they all are for our class, and here they all are for the next class as well. And then within each module, so in week 1, again, I have sort of materials for the week. So there's those PowerPoints and the book. There's the problems for the week. Here's the video lectures. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, chapter 1, and then part of chapter 2. And then we have stuff generally due on Thursdays and Sundays. Week 1, I have a couple things due Tuesday just to make sure you're getting on track. I'm not a huge stickler for due dates, but we don't want things to be like way late. So, if you're 30 minutes late, if you're just send me a message. Hey, I'm not going to get this done till tomorrow. It's usually fine. The idea is you want to get it done before I grade it. So that's the goal on your part. But the dates are mainly to keep us on track so we don't fall behind. Once you fall behind, it's very hard to catch up, especially in the online environment. So generally stuff will be due Thursdays. So we have assignments due Thursday, a couple of short things, a syllabus quiz and a practice sit. We'll do some submission for these practice sits. So you'll do all the problems and then we'll have some submission. It'll either be one of the problems or a screenshot or something very similar. And then stuff due over the weekend, that means it's due on Sunday. Again, a couple of coding assignments and things that are related. Down below, I usually have some additional material. The textbooks has associated PowerPoints with it. Some people will find that easier than reading the book. I find them hard to kind of get through, so I don't, it's optional. There's also video stuff that's down there in other weeks. Here's a video on data types. So that's just extra content if you want to go through some other presentation, or you have questions about stuff, or you want to learn it a little better, you can go through that content. In our, what are we heading in? What am I grading you on? So the practice it submissions and the Canvas coding assignments, those are weekly things. There's generally due Thursday and Sunday. I'll have, not huge assignments, but did you understand? One thing in here is, make sure you read these directions. If I say Maine you shouldn't have a repeated line or something, you want to be looking at the directions and often the grading criteria. At the bottom, I usually tell you, what am I basing my grades on in this assignment? So you can read that and it'll help you know that you've done the thing right. We'll have 4 projects. A couple of times I've gotten this thing where people, I spent a lot of time, like 3 or 4 hours on this project. Well, the projects are like 2 weeks. So you should be spending a lot of time on them. And a lot of the time is happening beforehand where you're thinking about what you're going to do. The actual coding should not, it's hours definitely, but like a lot of the development of these projects is happening on paper and beforehand. And it's not like the other quick coding, I shouldn't call things quick. It's not like these other shorter coding assignments. The projects are intended to be longer. And they are a bigger percentage of your grade as well. So we have 2 exams and a final. So those will be taken on Canvas, and you'll self-proctor using that video cam and a program called Panopto. The average on your 2 exams must be 70% for you to earn a 2.0 in this class. And the average on your final exam must be 70% in order for you to earn a 2.0 in this class. So that has to do with all of this content being available online or through Chegg. So what I don't want you to do is, generally throughout the course, all of this stuff, we are not getting help through online resources, GitHub, Chegg, Bartleby, any kind of online help is not allowed in this course. If you are getting assistance from myself or from a classmate, there's a couple of things that I'm going to have you go through. It's a computer science or my class working agreement, but I'll just go over a few things here. Anything you get help on, I want you to tell me what you got help with and who helped you and how they helped you. So for example, if you got help on a practice it, in the practice it comments, you might say, I got help on number 7 from a friend of mine who took this class. I was stuck because my loop was running 1 too many times, and they helped me figure out that the loop should only run 4 times. Okay, maybe that's what I want. So because what that does is it sets up an acknowledgement that this is something that you struggled with, but you got a little help and then you got it done, and that's great. You could say, I got help with project 1 by you, Tutangi. You helped me figure out the overall arcing logic, and then we went in to try to figure out some of the loop stuff, and you helped me with that. It doesn't have to be long. It's just a little comment that tells me you got help and from whom. And then that way, when I go back and look at your work, I can be like, okay, I know, I can see how they got this done and where they got stuck. So I'll put that in another agreement, but that's kind of why that 70% thing is there. And those exams will be proctored, both the 2 exams and the final, all of that will be proctored. So, and this is similar to a job. When you go to get a job interview in computer science, the first thing they do is they give you a 1 or more problems and they tell you to code them, and you're in a locked computer. You're not in a place where you can get help from anyone, and they don't really need you necessarily to solve the problem. Ideally they do want to see your solution, but they want to know that you can figure stuff out and do stuff on your own. And that doesn't include going online and asking someone else to figure it out. So I don't want to belabor that. It happens a lot. I know that the content is all there. I know usually we can tell when someone is understanding or when they're not. So, the idea is I can help you understand better, and I can help you come up with strategies to help you learn the content in a way that will help you be successful for the course. Okay, so that's why I'm here. That's why they pay me. So the big bucks. No, they don't pay me the big bucks, but that's why I'm here, is to help you learn. So those are my goals. I hopefully you will enjoy the course. know there is a time commitment for this course. That you know, we got the 3 to 5 hours a week of content. That's the videos, the PowerPoint, the reading, and then another 5 to 10 hours a week of coding and practice. And you know, hopefully you'll enjoy it. The more you understand it, the more you understand what you're doing, the more enjoyable it will be, because you'll be getting the benefits of like, oh, I figured that out. If we kind of skimp on the instruction and we're not understanding, then it's not very enjoyable, because we're not figuring stuff out and it's this constant struggle. So really, if you're struggling, you know, come get a little help, go back to the instruction, help yourself be successful by doing the work on the front end to make the work on the back end both quicker and more enjoyable. Okay, so I hope to meet a lot of you soon. Again, welcome to the course. I know I've gone on and on. I can do that, these videos sometimes, but hopefully you've gotten some valuable information. And again, mainly just welcome you to the quarter, and definitely reach out if you have questions. Anything I can help you with, let me know, and we'll hopefully get everyone on track as we jump in.